Hey everybody, welcome to an introduction to Steel Rift. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Ash Barker. I'm the author of other miniature war games, including Last Days and Gamma Wolves, and I am a founder and contributor to, of course, the indie game developing magazine Blaster. And I'm here to introduce you to my new game that I've produced in conjunction with Death Ray Designs called Steel Rift, a modular mecha mayhem game in 6 to 10 millimeter, whatever scale you want, pitting small combat groups of what are called HEVs, human endoskeletal vehicles, against each other in a war-torn future of our own solar system. And today what I'd like to do is walk you through a general sort of overview of the core rules, which are launching this week at Adepticon 2020, and will be included for free digitally with the 2-player starter set available from Death Ray Designs at their booth. So this video is to sort of give you a preview, sneak peek into the rulebook. It's available now on DriveThruRPG. You can check it out by checking out the description below in the video and having a look for yourself. But I wanted to give a brief sort of like designer's notes on the design for the game. So what is Steel Rift? Well, Steel Rift is an idea that I had back in 2021, early on in the year, when talking with Austin from Death Ray Designs about his cool new modular mech line that was called Solar Shift at the time of 6mm mechs. And the idea was we traded back and forth a bunch of ideas about what some of our favorite sort of like games that included mechs, small infantry, and sort of like company battalion sci-fi, hard sci-fi stuff were. What I wanted was a game that kind of harkened back to old school RTSs, right? You know, sort of real-time strategy games where you managed and sort of equipped and put together your own sort of like little battalion or you know, iron horses of mecha, and then pitted them against an opponent. And there were some things that I really wanted to have be sort of key principles in the game design. So first of all, I want you to be able to make and design your own robots. That was important to me. That's part of the fun, is finding the miniatures you like and being able to use them on the table, or design them from a pile of parts. That old sort of like, you know, building from bricks mentality of designing and making things. And that being said, I wanted a game where that didn't take a long time to do. So one of the core mechanics in Steel Rift is that you can assemble your crew of HEVs quickly. It uses a dice system for armor and structure. You can strip and reinforce those things, different classes of mechs from ultra heavy down to light. And when you compose your force, you're basically given a budget to try and do so. So that's principle number one. Principle number two, I wanted to take place on a small table size. One of the things with playing in that scale, in like 6 to 10 millimeters, is the detail's very tiny. So you want a small area to kind of draw you into the action and pull you into sort of like this tiny little world that's happening, and make each of the models kind of important and feel special. So a 3x3 playing surface, a kitchen table sized game, was something that was important to me. And then last but not least, I wanted the game to feel under your control. So decision making needed to be sort of back and forth between opponents. I didn't want a ton of waiting time in between where people are kind of idling and doing nothing, and that's where an alternating activation system was sort of key. So with those three things in mind, I set out to design Steel Rift. And what we have today is sort of the culmination of a bunch of testing and design in a core rulebook. And the last thing that was important when the core rulebook was done, and this wasn't really so much the design principles, it was a plan for the writing and development of it, was I wanted there to be room to grow. So the key focus, of course, is on the HEVs, the big mechs that stomp around and fight each other in different classes and sizes and stuff like that. But afterwards, I wanted there to be space, sort of like almost like a modularity. You could plug in other things, tanks, infantry, you know, aircraft and aerospace stuff, even orbiting lasers or satellite stuff, and off-table support was important to me. So the core rules include that. They actually include off-table assets, things you can call to the sky and, you know, rain down upon your opponent, or have secretly set up on the battlefield maybe beforehand by like bombing them in. And that gives you sort of another layer of design outside of just designing your HEVs, your mechs. But it means that I, as a designer, can build off this core rule set and add new things. So initial plans, some specifics for designing your own faction and playing your own faction in the game based upon 3 kind of core principles: corporate interests, government authorities, and then freelancers. Think of them like space pirates, you know, your plucky you can't take the sky from me types in science fiction. And then a way of playing the game, you sort of like consistently and narratively. And then after that, of course, adding in different types of models. So things like little bases that spawn infantry, or convoys of trucks defended by tanks going across the table. Things that added more depths and layers and choices in making your sort of team or faction in Steel Rift feel like it was yours. So just a bigger menu, basically. So what we have today is the core rules. It focuses on the gameplay and engagement between HEV combat teams, so the big mecha combat teams and their off-table support assets. You can quickly pick a game size. It goes between 100 and 200 tons. 150 tons will give you about 45 minutes of playtime, 90 minutes when you get up to 200 tons, maybe half an hour to 45 minutes when you're playing at the basic level. And this was all to complement the 2-player starter set available from Death Ray Designs. So that starter set gives you 2 forces. You get a Freelancer force, which includes 3 mechs. You get a Daiko, you get a Mars, the heavy mech, and then you get a light, which is called a Corso. No, not a Corso, it's a Scarab, sorry. Then you get the Authority mechs, which have a Shepherd heavy mech, a Corso medium mech, the one I just mixed up, and then a Fennec light mech. And all of these come with different weapon options, different arms, so you can customize, mix and match, and build your own. I built that out, and today you can watch a Let's Play where you see us play through the rules themselves, and jump in and actually sort of play through a whole game. Myself and Chase, who helped me playtest the core rules over the course of like the last 6 or 8 months, and you can see him credited in the rulebook itself. And this will allow you to basically either make 200-ton single player armies, or if you want to mix and match and kind of like bodge together all of your own HEVs from this like selection of parts in the box set, you could play a full 200-ton game against another person who has a starter set. So it's effectively a 1 or 2 player starter set, depending upon how you want to build and paint the models that are inside of it. It's beautifully designed and 3D sculpted by the guys at Death Ray Designs. Austin did an amazing job, and it'll be available at their booth today at Adepticon. So have a look, check it out, and of course there'll be lots of big things coming in the following year for Steel Rift. These are the core mechanics. There will be a print version available later. We got this digital copy done just in time for Adepticon so that the box set could come out and people can have access to the rules. But you can buy it today through Drive-Thru RPG, or you can also grab a copy of the 2-player starter set, 1 to 2-player starter set at Adepticon, and you'll get a code to get a digital copy for yourself. So big thanks for watching. We'll see you for more Steel Rift after today's Let's Play in the future. Until then, I'm Ash. Outboard Gaming.